Hi, this is Challen with your FTW message. Today I want to talk about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, who are the ones that are out to ruin your relationships, whether it's with your spouse or whether it's with your children. These four horsemen you need to be able to rein in. Now, I'll be the first one to say that it's impossible to eliminate these things from your life because you are a human being. But in order to understand, to overcome the enemy, you need to know what they are. You need to be able to define it so you can recognize it and then restrain yourself when you feel these things coming on. Because I guarantee you, if you're unrestrained in these four horsemen, you're not going to restrain them. You will destroy your relationships. Okay, now what they are? You got an easy way for you to remember them. I call them the CDCs. C, D, C, and S. CDCs. The first one is being overly critical. Criticism. Are you always criticizing your spouse or your child? The second one is defensiveness. Do you feel that you need to be defensive anytime somebody is trying to suggest something to you? And the next one is being contemptuous, or having a sense of contempt. And I'll talk about that, what that means, here in a moment. And the last one is stonewalling. It's kind of like you just pretending they aren't there, right? Oh yeah, that's how you treat important people, just pretend they're not there. Okay, let's talk about criticism. So if you're going to be overly critical of people, I think, it's not like we don't ever want to be critical. Sometimes people deserve some criticism. But I think when it goes overboard is when you're not, my feeling is the opposite is showing gratitude. And it could be that you don't see the 10 things that were done, you only see the one thing that wasn't done. And although it's important that one thing needs to be done, I think you need to show appreciation for the 10 things that were done, right? So we're way too negative. And so that's a little bit what's going on behind the being too critical, right? Hey man, just mellow out, okay? I mean, come on, it's like I just made an honest mistake. I wasn't trying to kill somebody. Okay, the next one is defensiveness. Now, maybe you've been attacked in your past and you feel that people are out to get you, but when you're in a close relationship, like a marriage, or you're working together, eventually you're going to have this sense of you're working together, you're not each other's enemy, so you don't be too defensive. You have to be open, a little bit more open-minded what the other person is trying to say. So you got to watch out for that. Now, what's this next one? Contemptuous. I mean, the best, off the top of my head, I think we all, all these things we're capable of doing, all these bad things. So if you're contemptuous to somebody else, that suggests that you feel like you have some sort of superiority over that other person. Well, we all know that, you may be feeling superior right now, but it won't be too long before you're not being too superior. You're going to make your own mistakes. So you got to be humble. Having some humility will help balance this type of attitude out. If you're contemptuous of your spouse or contemptuous of your child, that's not a good position to make a connection with them, okay? If you don't understand what they're doing, at least try to understand. You don't have to love something the way they love something, but at least you can understand that we all have different interests, and that you have to respect. You have to learn how to respect that. It's not, as long as it's not something like just that's ultra destructive. And then the last one is stonewalling. Now, what's stonewalling all about? I think you're trying to unfairly leverage your relationship to gain an advantage that you're doing it in a destructive way. Once again, we're all on the same team. It's one thing to not feeling comfortable to communicate something. You may not be ready to discuss a problem, but you don't have to act like you're ignoring somebody. I mean, that's hurtful. It's like you're just trying to stab somebody. You feel like you were unjustly treated, so you want to get back at that person. So a real sort of a passive aggression stance is to stonewall somebody. So What do we, quick review? Critical, overly critical. Oh, defensiveness. I don't want to get beat up again. Contemptuous. I'm better than you. Whatever you're doing, what are you doing, man? I'm too good for that. And then the stonewalling. It's like, I'm just going to ignore you till you figure out that there's something wrong. And you got to communicate. You got to be humble. You got to be open-minded, and you have to understand we're all on the same team trying to get through life, including dealing with your kids. You have to take the extra effort to understand where they're coming from sometimes, and then to make that connection. So this is challenge with your FTW message. I could have broke this thing into a whole week, but I gave it to you in one shot, and so I hope you appreciate that. And I'll see ya on the next video.